welcome to Angie's Tasty Tuesday, brought to you by Transition Nutrition and Fitness Coaching. I'm Angie, and if you're new here, welcome, and if not, thank you for coming back. I know I've been gone for a while, and you notice I'm wearing my Jet Strong Heart Warrior t-shirt in honor of my granddaughter, who at 7 weeks had to have open heart surgery for tetralogy of Fallot syndrome at Children's National Hospital in Washington, D.C. I want to thank all of you that reached out and said prayers and offered your support, because it was a rough time, but the good news is baby Jane is home and doing absolutely wonderful. She is 3 weeks post open heart surgery tomorrow, ended up coming home only on Tylenol and is doing fabulously. So it's good to be back, and thank you for your support, and I look forward to being here pretty regularly now. So let's get started with today's recipe, which is a tofu omelet. I know on those winter mornings, sometimes you want something a little heartier than oatmeal or just something a little different. And I've really worked hard to come up with an omelet instead of a scramble. Although scrambles are good, I really did miss those cheesy, veggie-filled omelets that you used to be able to get before I went whole food plant-based. Today's recipe checks off all the boxes and still stays healthy and nutritious and plant-based. So let's get started. We're going to start off at the stove making the filling for the omelet first. For this, you're going to need a little bit of water to saute your veggies. And we're going to let that heat up until they really start to bubble. We're going to have 1/4 cup of diced red bell pepper, 1/4 cup of red onion, 8 ounces of baby portobello mushrooms sliced really thin, and about 1 cup of baby spinach or baby kale, your preference. Today I'm using baby kale because that's what I had on hand. So we're going to start off by putting in our onions and our bell pepper and our mushrooms. And we're going to saute these until the vegetables are soft and the mushrooms lose their liquid, which will take anywhere from about 5 to 8 minutes. So we'll be back once these are all tender and sauteed. So it takes about 3 to 5 minutes to get them all cooked down. This is enough filling for 2 omelets, and this recipe does make 2 omelets. So after you have the veggies, all the water, it's all steamed down, then you're going to take your cup, turn off the heat, and take your cup of baby spinach or your cup of baby kale and stir that just enough it will start to wilt just from the heat of the pan and the heat of the veggies. Now, you don't have to add the spinach or the kale, but I like to try to get my greens in anytime I can and add them to a dish to help make it more nutritious and get that nitric oxide going in the food. So you're going to let this sit now while we go make the body. So for the omelet part itself, we're going to be using the blender. You're going to need 12 ounces of silken tofu. And you do want to use the silken. I do drain off, or not really even press it or anything, but just drain off the liquid as I'm opening the package, and use the silken tofu because it is moister and will make a smoother omelet batter. If you have to use firm or extra firm, you'll end up adding about 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup more water to get it to the consistency of the batter. I have 3 tablespoons of nut milk. I'm going to start off with about 2 tablespoons of that. I have 1.5 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. I have 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, 1/2 teaspoon of kala namak, which is black salt. This is what's going to give it the egg flavor. We've used this in other dishes to get that egg flavor. 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric. It's going to give us that nice yellow color along with the nutritional yeast. 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Now we're going to turn this on high and blend this until it's smooth. Then we'll be adding 3 tablespoons of chickpea flour and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and possibly that reserved tablespoon of milk. We just need to see if it's the right consistency or not. It depends on how much water ends up being in your tofu. So we're going to turn this on and blend it up until it is smooth. Let's blend it up. I'm going to scrape the sides down just a little bit. And and we're going to add our cornstarch, our chickpea flour, and our cornstarch. Again, it's 3 tablespoons of chickpea flour and 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. And again, we're going to blend that up until it's a pancake-like batter and completely smooth. Now that we have our omelet batter, we're going to take I have a scan pan, but you definitely want a non-stick pan. And we're going to heat it up until it does what I call the splatter test. And that's, you want it hot enough that when you drop in a couple drops of water, they dance. That one did not dance yet, so it's not quite hot enough. I have it set on medium-high. You're going to want to turn it down a little bit after we pour it in, just because this has to bake until it's completely solid. And so we're going to just keep checking, and when it gets to that splatter test, you'll know because the little balls of water will like dance on the surface of your pan. Then it's ready for us to pour in our omelet mixture. It's really close. There we go. So now I'm going to take it down to medium-high. Remember, this is enough for 2 omelets, so we're only going to pour in half the mixture and make sort of a circle shape, just like you would with a regular omelet. It's about half, and now we let it cook. You'll notice it'll start to bubble on the surface, but you want to cook it until it's completely dry and easily to remove off the pan. If not, it won't be set, it won't be done, and it will start sticking to your pan. Sort of like the waffles you make in the waffle maker without oil. You know they're done when they no longer stick as you try to lift the lid. So we'll be right back when it starts to bubble. It takes about 5 minutes. You want to make sure that your omelet is completely dry all the way, even through the middle, before you try to flip it, or you will end up with scrambled eggs instead of an omelet. So once it's dry all the way through, flip it over. It's a nice golden brown on that side. We're going to let it cook just for 2 minutes on this side. Then we'll flip it back over, put half of our fillings in it, and fold it and plate it. So I'm going to give it about 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes on this side, and then we'll flip it back over to put our fillings in. All right, now we're going to flip it right back over. We're going to put half of our filling on half of our omelet, and at this point you can actually turn the stove off. Just like you would a regular omelet, you're going to want to put your filling on one half of it. Oh, that looks so yummy. And depending on, you can add whatever fillings you might like. I'm also going to add some of the cheese sauce because I like cheese in my omelet. And I made this fresh this morning. So I'm going to put a big glob of the cheese sauce in the middle of that. And then we're going to fold it over, and we will be right back with it plated. So here we have our finished plated tofu omelet stuffed with mushrooms and baby kale, red peppers and red onions, along with some honeydew and a little bit of salsa, because I like my omelets a little bit spicy in the morning. I hope you enjoyed this video today, and if you'd like to see more, you can find them here or here. And please don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share our videos with your friends. And until next time, remember, plants are the best medicine.